Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I will be changing the air filter and replenishing the coolant on this F850 GSA. We're starting with topping off the coolant. There are 3 screws that you need to remove. And to remove these screws, you will need a T25 Torx bit. First, we'll start with the very top one up here. Moving on to the second bolt. Now on to the third bolt. Afterwards, I am just being careful about pulling off the panel because this is the first time I'm doing this and I didn't want to break any pins or whatnot. Looks like there's only 3. So there's 3 total, and there's these clips that slide in, just so you guys know you don't pull carelessly and rip them off. Okay, so the rest of the tools and materials you need to do this job is, of course, the funnel, which I have the same exact funnel for my oil changes, so I have to label this one coolant, only for coolant. And the coolant, that this one is not pre-mixed, so I actually have to do a 50-50 mixture with distilled water, and they recommend that you use distilled water because they don't want any other additives or minerals that you would get in a regular bottled water or tap water. That, I leave that up to you. I'm just following instructions. So I'm gonna use this mason jar to measure 200 ml of distilled water. Put that there. And these have measurements, or I should say these are measurements over here, same as quart of oil. So I would just take the liquid all the way up to 800 because this is a liter. I don't want to use my mason jar, that's only for food. So I'm just gonna empty it all the way to 800. I think this is probably already obvious, but in a pinch and you're out there, you don't have a way of getting coolant, you can always just use distilled water, and when you get back, just do the whole coolant mixture, flush the whole system, whatever you need to do. So this is the mixture. Now we're going back out there to fill the reservoir tank. So there's the cap for the reservoir tank. So hopefully this is slanted enough so it doesn't. Okay. Since it's not bendable, since the funnel is not bendable, I can't do too much at a time. So I'm peeking in the back too to make sure that I don't overfill. Okay. Let me show you what that looks like. But first, I will replace the cap. There, as you can see, the second line, just fill it all the way up to the second line. Do not go past it because that's maximum level. Now all you have to do is put the fairing back. So now I'm putting this fairing back on. I'm lining up all those clips first because we're gonna do a slide. That's how it goes in. There. Screws back on. Once again, that's a T25. I'm gonna go ahead and start at the top. The middle part. The third one. Once it's snug, a quarter turn. There you go. So next we're moving on to changing the air filter. But first, in order to remove the top part of the tank, we have to take the seat off. Okay, so now we're moving on to removing this black piece here. We're gonna start with the bottom. Once again, you're using a T25 Torx bit. You do not need to remove the silver gas cap to do this job. When you're working on the top part, just turn the handlebar to give you more access. There are 6 tabs total, and just start by removing the bottom first after you unscrew everything. Let me just show you. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It pops up. So you just pull straight up so you don't damage anything. You have to remove this breather hose because it's sitting on top. And this just pops off. Just be careful because hopefully the lighting is okay. Be careful because there's a lot of hoses. Here is the old air filter. I guess you're supposed to change it at 6,000 miles or 10,000 kilometers. This is the new air filter. Once again, I just stopped by the dealership and grabbed it. Part number. Of course, you can use the K&N reusable one if you guys prefer those. I don't really care. So there's 3 holes here, you just match it up and put it back how it is. Make sure that they are snug. And now we're gonna put this back. Once again, we have to be careful with dropping a bunch of dirt or anything down there and snagging the hoses, so we have to be careful with that too. And it just clicks on, and I'm putting the breather hose back. This goes back like this. Okay, so now we're putting this plastic piece back on. Just line it up. Make sure it's all lined up so it'll just slide in. I'm going to start with the top here. I'm just hand tightening it. Then I will use the wrench after. Be careful to not over tighten them. You might break the bolts. They break really easily, so just tighten them until they're snug and do a quarter turn, and that should be enough. Okay, so basically just put the seat back on. So that is it for this video. Hopefully you found it very helpful. If so, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.